Recording has started. There we go.
All right, again, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us for this webinar. I can tell you a lot of time has been put preparing into this, so we hope you find it as useful now as you will in the future as you continue to reference this. My name is Mark Ray. I work with the city of Burnsville, and I had the privilege of serving as the project technical liaison for this project, Resources for Roadway Maintenance Careers in Minnesota. And I'm going to need you, Natalie, to change the slide it looks like, because spacebar turned off my camera. Just as you all are very aware, there are a lot of resources and a lot of conversations about workforce development within the public works and kind of critical infrastructure sector, whether it be the President's National Infrastructure Advisory Council, the American Public Works Association, as well as a variety of other associations and policy groups. So what we were trying to do is look at some of this work that's been done and build on it to make it tangible for how we can actually fill our ranks. Next slide. With that, today's agenda, we're first going to talk a little more about the project and how it came to be. Then we'll transition to talking about those resources that are available to everybody, talk about some products and how you can interact with the webpage that's been developed for this effort. And then at the end, we'll take some questions and answer and also hear from some of the case studies that we have referenced on the website. Next slide. With that, I do want to give a quick shout out to our project partners, the Local Road Research Board, which is committed to sponsoring and taking efforts to improve the quality of Minnesota's transportation system. You can learn more at the website there, as well as the Center for Transportation Studies, which cultivates improvements in innovation in transportation through research, engagement, and education. And with that, I'd like to hand over to one of the project team members, Catherine. Take it away, Catherine.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Stanley. I am the Senior Manager for Training and Technical Assistance at the Center for Transportation Studies. And I also served as the primary investigator on this project. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit about the project. So a little background, this is the second funded Local Road Research Board project that worked at addressing expanding the transportation workforce. And the purpose of expanding the transportation workforce is really threefold. One, it's to help local agencies fill open positions. The second is to help local agencies with their recruitment, retraining, and retaining their current workforce. And the third is to really help promote career opportunities within local agencies. This project, we conducted 4 focus groups. They included human resource professionals from local agencies, high school students, adults with commercial driver's licenses who did not work for local agencies, and adult job seekers. This entire project was guided by a technical advisory panel, which is comprised of transportation professionals from cities, counties, and state agencies. And I just want to take a moment to thank everyone on this technical advisory panel. It was almost a year-long project. So I just want to keep their time, dedication, and expertise as they helped us guide us. Through their guidance and the results from the focus groups, we were able to develop a comprehensive website to house the roadway maintenance resources. This new website is minnesotatransportationcareers.com. You see it's right here. This website contains targeted information for specific audiences. It has career videos. It has a job and internship board. It also has a training resource guide, a variety of case studies from local agencies and counties, and as well as downloadable brochures, which you can print off and share with your high school students or adult seekers. And now I'm going to be handing it off to John, and he's going to be giving you a guided tour of our new resource.
Thank you, Catherine. Good morning, everybody. I'm John Siglon. I'm the Communications Director here at the Center for Transportation Studies at the University of Minnesota. And my team and I have been working on developing this site over the past few months. It lives within our LTAP, or Minnesota Local Technical Assistance Program website, but the URL, as Catherine shared there, following our launch here today, mntransportationcareers.com will take a visitor right to this homepage. That's going to be the URL or the address that we promote in all of our subsequent efforts here to drive people here to this content. And my job this morning is to take you on a little tour. I'm just going to give kind of an overview so that you can explore the resources here later on your own. So once you reach the landing page here at mntransportationcareers.com, you'll see we've got just the way that we've structured the site is based on what we learned from those focus groups. So we learned some things as takeaways from students that we tried to incorporate into the look and feel and the language that we use in that section. We learned some things from the 2 groups of adult job seekers we talked about, and some different things from the HR pros. And so we structured the content on this site really to try to speak to those different audiences and meet them where they're at. On the landing page here, then you'll see we've got a little news box. The news box today is about this webinar. Following this webinar, we will post the recording here that we take here, and then we'll use this over time to talk about different things that come up that are related to our work in this area. Then looking down the site, you've got kind of an entry portal for students, entry portal for adult job seekers, and an entry portal for HR pros. And then some links to those other resources that Catherine referenced. So the job and internship posting board, our training guide, videos, and case studies. And then throughout the site, we'll have sort of just email solicitations to let us know what questions you might have about the site or what suggestions you might have to make it better. And that's one thing I would like to point out is the intention here is that once we launch this today, we want this really to be a living document and a place that grows for people over time. We'd love to be able to add more case studies. We'd love to have the HR professionals that are on the call with us submitting just those 1-minute job postings so we can help to share that through our promotions going forward. I'll start by just going into I know there's some HR pros on the call with us this morning, so I'll just take a quick look at that section. So if we click through to HR pros, here's what that landing page looks like. So we've got those same links here to those buttons, to those resources. And then we've got language here that just sort of sets up some of the things that we learned from those focus groups, trying to address the things that were the takeaways there in that language. And then throughout, we'll have links to the different resources. So to the training guide, here's a link to that PDF brochure Catherine referenced that you can print out and distribute at in-person events. Here's the video, which is an overview to transportation maintenance careers. We leveraged a different project through LLRB that worked with some some students at Central College to develop these series of videos that are easy to share, easy to screen at job fairs, easy to screen in the office or send around via email or social media. Those are embedded throughout the site. We got a link to our case studies and then some of the different takeaways we had. So one of the things that I thought was interesting, having worked in the public sector, private sector, and nonprofit in my career, was in my experience in the public sector, this idea of serving your community was always a big thing that came out of the surveys that HR did of existing employees. One of the reasons I love working at Ramsey County is because I'm serving my community, for instance, or we love working at the university because we love the mission of the university. What the HR pros told us in our focus groups was that for for applicants, this was a big zero. Nobody was interested in that particular element of the job. They're interested in pay and benefits and work-life balance. That came out over and over again. So we really focused on that type of thing here and tried to pull out some of those takeaways to share for the groups here on the site. The last thing on this page is Catherine referenced there was an earlier project, and she'll talk a little bit more about this later in the presentation, that was similar to what we're doing here with transportation maintenance professionals, but with civil engineers. And so this will take you into both the research that we did for this project and then links to all the resources developed from that other project. So that's a look at the HR pros section. I'll just quickly show you, and if we pop into students here, structured a little differently, a little more bite-sized. The language is different. It's a little peppier, and it's addressing what we heard in those focus groups from our students. And they said, you know, they're really interested in recognition from their peers, work-life balance, and sort of prestige and being involved in a field or a career that is innovative, that uses technology. And so the video we selected for this page, for instance, is one that features drone inspections, or excuse me, using drones for bridge inspections. And we really shaped the language and the look and feel and the resources here in terms of this case study to sort of address what we heard from those students. So there's a snapshot or an overview of the students page. Next, I'll go into these different resources that we have here that are linked throughout the site with these boxes. So we'll start with the job board. So this is basically jobs and transportation maintenance from local agencies, so cities, counties, tribes and townships across the state that are open now and available for folks. And so this is a resource both for job seekers, of course, but it's also a resource for HR pros and recruiters and other people who are looking, and public works professionals looking to say, well, I wonder what our peers are doing to promote these jobs. What types of opportunities are they bringing forward? How are they shaping their jobs? How are they talking about their jobs? So we built out this section that has those open positions at local agencies, and we will maintain this based on the feedback we get from local agencies. We tried to make this as easy as possible. We know that HR professionals, there is no shortage of places to post jobs. And so this is one that's really zeroes in on these job seekers. And then we'll promote this through the LTAP program, so people will have reinforced that this is a resource for finding jobs in this field. So four things, less than a minute to fill this out and post that job and get it to us, and we'll put it up on our site. The other thing I wanted to point out is, even if we have no jobs that are open in the field across the state that we have posted, we still have links here to sorted and sort of curated ways to look at public works jobs through the League of Minnesota Cities, the Association of Minnesota Counties, APWA, Street Superintendents Association, and MnDOT Careers. So those will always be there, regardless of what other positions might be open here, and internship and training opportunities as well on the job board. So that was the job and internship postings. Next, I'll just show you the videos. So the ones that we pulled forward here on that page, we saw those on the individual pages, but there's the overview. There's the one that's focused on the tech and the drone inspections for bridges. And then here's a social media version of that as well. So this is a quick little clip that is easy to share on TikTok or LinkedIn or YouTube or however you would like to share it. And then there's a link here to some additional videos that were created through that same project to talk about things like civil engineering careers and related careers, but not strictly transportation maintenance. So these are here to be used, to be shared and leveraged to whatever degree possible. Then I wanted to talk a minute about these case studies. So this is another one of those areas where I'd like to make the pitch for, we want this to be a living document, and we would love to hear all of the things that you're doing to recruit and retain transportation maintenance workers, and we're happy to do the work. So for instance, I bumped into a former colleague at the Transportation Expo, and he shared with me some of the work he's doing to recruit middle and high school students through his department there in Anoka County. And we sat down with him for about 20 minutes and got a chance to write up his case study. So if you have things that you can share with us, please just reach out, send us an email, or let us know at the end of this webinar, and we'd love to follow up. We'll do the work to turn your case study into something that we can share more broadly. But here's just a look at some of those. And this covers a number of different things from across the state. Cities and counties. Here's Egan's maintenance trainee program. And within these different case studies, so we'll give you a little snapshot, a little capsule, and then there's links to resources here that will be, sort of like, what does the posting look like? Or what does the PowerPoint look like? Or what are the other handouts that are provided by these agencies for those programs? So the idea here is to, seed some ideas, to inspire and help to develop what's working and keep this moving for folks. Where the Chaska's program here was even covered in the news. So we shared those links here through the case studies. Then lastly, we've got a training guide. So talking about recruiting and retaining, here's the retaining piece, developing employees in transportation maintenance through this sort of sorted and curated training guide. So real simple, online. Oh, it's another thing I should have mentioned. So because this is built in this website, it is completely accessible, it is mobile friendly, it's easy to access on a mobile device, navigate on a mobile device. We created it and designed it in such a way that it's easy to tap through. So this can be used, when you're standing with a person wherever or on a desktop, and it's totally accessible for folks with disabilities. So this is sorted by topic. So let's imagine that working on somebody developing their career in training, and we want to do winter operations. So you can click right down here to that, expand the topics, and this will show you all of the coursework that are courses, diploma and certificate programs that are available both in person and online through LTAP, but also through other resources throughout the state. So for instance, for winter operations, we have, these certifications through MBCA and APWA, and those are sort of sprinkled throughout the site and structured in a way that are easy to kind of see what does that career roadmap look like for training. And so maybe Catherine, did you want to talk more broadly about the training opportunities that we provide through LTAP and how that program works?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, John. So if you're unfamiliar with Minnesota's local technical assistance program, our main purpose is to provide training to maintenance workers across the state. So we have curated over the last, I think we're on 35 years now, 35 years. We have really developed a robust training program from a variety of in-person workshops to dozens of self-paced online courses. We even do on-site training. So if your agency is looking for a specific topic, if it's a work zone safety, or even if it's vegetation management, we will come to you to deliver it to your staff. Or even if you're a workforce professional and you work for a career force center and you have a group of individuals that you'd like them to have something like that, if it's a large enough group, we would even come to you and do that as well. A lot of our trainings are short and quick, 1 day usually. The onlines are a little longer. But this is just a really great program that's low cost. It's really for anyone across the state. We have a lot of people even attend from outside of the state taking our classes. We also value technology transfer. So we have very good communication products that share a lot of information for this industry, best practices, new research, new ways to apply the technology, what everyone else is doing. So this type of website is really going to be completely integrated with our current practices for the local technical assistance program. So I also encourage you to just kind of explore our programs. We have certificate programs. One is for maintenance. We have a leadership program, a civil engineering technician program, but all of those courses can kind of really lay over what this program is doing in this resource guide. And it's going to stay updated because everything's linked together. So we update it on our Minnesota LTAP page. This will automatically be updated as well. And we have very strong partnerships across the associations around the state. And so we make sure that we leverage their courses as well. If it's not APWA, it's Minnesota Street Superintendents Association, and associations like that.
Thanks, Catherine.
Yep.
So I think now that's the concludes our tour here, our brief tour. Do we want to talk? I think next up is how we're going to promote this in the months ahead. Right. So this was a year-long project that wraps up at the end of August. But we are not going to be done with this resources at all there. So hoping, again, to make this a living resource based on all the feedback that we're getting from local agencies to improve the site, to update those postings, to keep our training materials up to date, as Catherine said. All this is intended to be a living document, but we're kicking it off here today. And we're going to do that basically with a lot of different types of promotion in the weeks and months ahead. So we previewed this in in an edition of our LTAP communications. We have thousands of subscribers across the state and actually across the country to our LTAP exchange and email newsletters. I can easily subscribe to those today if you like on our website. So we'll continue to promote this program through that. We're going to be buying advertisements and boosting posts through LinkedIn, through YouTube and Google ads, focusing on those videos in some cases, focusing on the other resources that are available. And we'll be boosting that and targeting those posts to transportation and HR professionals throughout the state of Minnesota. And then we'll continue just to post these things regularly beyond the boosting. So we will just continue to feature this resource regularly through our typical communications. Then we're working with our associations and organizations, as Catherine mentioned, to keep this at least present in their communications and continue to solicit new content from those folks. Then at events and presentations, we'll be pulling this out, sharing this webinar, and then featuring this at events for different conferences and things like that, focused on roadway or transportation maintenance. And then, like I mentioned, we're just going to continue promoting this through LTAP, even after the project itself technically closes here at the end of August. We'll continue in our news and training events, for instance, to talk about that job board, to talk about the case studies, to pull forward those profiles of our road scholars and other transportation maintenance professionals, to give folks a real sense of what that work is like, and to sort of grow along with some of these folks that are going through their careers. And again, I've said it about 50 times, but I'll say it one more time, that feedback loop is so important for us. So just please stay involved with us and tell us candidly, what we can do to improve the site, what we can do to share resources. We love to get all of those ideas to make this as robust as possible in the weeks and months ahead.
Great. Thank you, John, for that wonderful tour. I'm going to touch base a little bit on what we mentioned previously, that this is the second funded local road research board project that really is targeting this expanding the transportation workforce issue. And part of this program, the first one was completed about 3 years ago, and the target was to address the workforce shortage for civil engineering technicians. And so a lot of this was curated around that outreach, but we broadened it to include other things like a career brochure to really focus on all of the careers within a local agency. So I encourage everyone to kind of go to our website, and all of this is free. It's downloadable. A lot of it is customizable, so you can really customize it to your agency or to your audience in particular. So I encourage everyone to just go on there, download. We can give you other files, other versions if you need, but this is all available for everyone. So please check out our website. And now I'm going to hand it back to Mark.
All right. Well, thank you very much, John and Catherine. With that, one of the things we're going to do just to open up our Q&A session is hear from some of the case studies we talked about. So first up will be Tim Plath and from the city of Eagan to talk about kind of their program and how they've reached out to engage potential future workforces. So with that, Tim, over to you.
Good morning. Thanks, Mark. Glad to share some experience that we have at the City of Eagan with our maintenance trainee program. I'll start maybe with just a little bit of the why and why we created this program. In the past 5 to 10 years, we had a large group of retirees in our maintenance worker group. And as we were replacing those maintenance workers, we recognized that there was a diminishing number of qualified candidates that were applying for those positions. And at the same time, we noticed that there's a number of lesser qualified candidates who are expressing interest in the maintenance work or public works maintenance field. So in November of 2022, we initiated a maintenance trainee program. And the intent and the goal of the program was to provide an opportunity for less experienced and non-traditional candidates to gain experience, to be hired ultimately in the public works maintenance field. It also provided an opportunity for our supervisors to take a look at candidates before they were actually on full-time permanent status and see if they were good candidates for a long-term career in the City of Eagan. And then we also saw the greater good to the industry in general, the public works industry in general, that by doing this, we're expanding the number of employees that are available for public works agencies. And we accepted the reality that some of these trainees may not end up full-time employees at the City of Eagan. They may end up somewhere else, and that's okay. We saw a greater benefit to the industry as a whole. So what does the program look like? We actually modeled it off of a similar program that the city of Burnsville had going for a year or two before ours. The minimum qualifications for the position are very low: 18 years old or older, high school diploma or a GED, and a valid Class D, as in dog, driver's license. The current pay rate for our positions are just a little bit over $29 per hour. The positions have a 2-year maximum length on them. So if the trainee is not placed in a full-time position at the end of 2 years, that position terminates. And throughout that 2-year period, they rotate through our different maintenance teams. So from April to November, one of our trainees, we have 2 total trainees in our program at any given time. One of those trainees is in our park forestry team, and the other trainee is on our utilities maintenance team. Then from November to October, both trainees come and work on our streets teams. And in the second year, they'll flip the park forestry and utility maintenance assignments so that at the end of their 2-year period with us, they'll have a 1-year experience in street maintenance, 6 months experience in the utility maintenance field, and 6 months of experience in the park forestry field. Additionally, we do train in-house for Class A CDL, and so by the time they're done, they also will have a Class A CDL. When we initiated the program, we did have to enter into a memorandum of understanding with our maintenance employee union. So how's it gone so far? We're just kind of coming up on the end of our first 2-year cycle. Both of our initial trainees have ultimately now moved on to full-time positions in public works. One of our candidates was hired by the city of Eagan and is working as a full-time street maintenance worker here at the city of Eagan. The other candidate was hired by the city of Lakeville and is a full-time street maintenance worker for the city of Lakeville. We've hired our second round, I'll call them, of trainees, and our most recent experience with hiring, we received over 100 applicants for that position. We narrowed that down 10 in-person interviews, and we felt really good about a majority of the people in those in-person interviews and ultimately had to select 1 or 2, which we did. But overall, we feel that our maintenance trainee program has been a huge success. The union has been very supportive of the program. We entered into a second MOU with them with a 2-year term, and they were very acceptable to that. And we, as the city of Eagan, have benefited from the program because we were able to fill one of our full-time maintenance worker positions with a candidate from the trainee program who we knew and were comfortable with and was a great addition to our staff. And then finally, we feel like it has helped the broader public works industry by bringing in 2, and we're hoping 4 with the most recent trainee hires, new employees into the public works maintenance workforce, and that we feel is a great success overall.
That's really good, Tim. I really appreciate you sharing that information. Now we're looking over at Golden Valley with Tim Kiefer to talk about the program they're using up there. Tim, again, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Happy to be here. So we kind of heard back from staff that they kind of wanted a clear path to maybe some promotion, some extra pay. Looking around at other agencies, we found the city of Edina has somewhat of a step system. So we kind of modeled ours after there. So the first 3 steps or years of employment, it's basically kind of learning the job, making sure you're doing it safely. So there's some FEMA requirements, a lot of hands-on education, some school training, how to deploy traffic devices, stuff like that. Again, mainly focusing on safety and doing the job as efficient as possible. And then the 4th year, the 4th step is to cross-train with all the other departments to kind of maybe get an appreciation for what your coworkers are doing, to get a little bit more perspective of what the agency as a whole is doing. And then we get into kind of our steps 5 through 7, which focuses really on the leadership. Like Tim had talked about, we have some retirements that have come up, and so we want to make sure that we have internal candidates that are ready to step into those roles. And so it really focused on leadership. So it's the public works certificate course. It's the Hamlin, leadership certificate. There's a education component to it, but there's also some special skills, making sure that you can run some of the equipment properly. So we test on the equipment and make sure that, if we have a water main break, that that employee that is kind of in that later stages of those step models can get in that piece of equipment, and we know they're going to run it efficiently and safely. And so it was another way for employees to get a little bit of extra money. We definitely see value here at the city by educating those employees and getting them ready for going into leadership or supervisory roles. And like Tim said, sometimes it doesn't always happen in Golden Valley, but industry wide, I think we're setting our employees up for success, even if it's not with us.
Thank you very much, Tim. It was really good to hear kind of the Egan model of trying to find new staff and find ways to get them in the door. And then the Golden Valley model, once they're in the door, how do we coach them and develop them up, whether it be within the city or within other agencies. So with that, now we're going to open it up to general questions or comments from the group. Catherine, I'm going to hand it back to you so you can kind of monitor the chat and stuff and tag team any questions that come in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to echo what Mark said. Tim Kiefer and Tim Platts, thank you for so much. I know this is a pretty last minute invite, and you guys came here, and you're always such a great partner for LTAP, and so we so greatly appreciate your involvement. You always go above and beyond, so thank you so much, and you brought so much value to this webinar today. Yeah, so with that, does anyone have any questions for us? Feel free to raise your hand. We can always we can unmute you, or you can just type it into the chat.
Well, that said, the website now is operational, correct, to the public, so they can go there and start searching around today.
That's right, Mark. Yeah, we just launched it today. So that URL, mntransportationcareers.com, should bring you right to that landing page. We just repointed it. For some people, it might take a little longer, but it is live and we are rolling.
Okay. And we do have a question from Corinne Watts. I clicked unmute.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Awesome. I just wanted to know if you had any veteran specific programs or pipelines that you use to recruit veterans. And also, it looks like the chat is disabled. I don't know if that's just for me or for everyone.
So with the veteran stuff, I don't think we have anything specifically on the website. That said, what I have found is just kind of that word of mouth has been somewhat successful in just trying to really just educate people on careers. But I think that's definitely something we could explore more as a definite opportunity there to tap that resource for sure.
Mark, I was just going to add APWA, the national organization, just created and provided some great resources for veteran hiring in public works. So there is information on APWA's webpage that would be of value too if people are interested in exploring veteran hiring in public works.
Thanks, Tim. I'm the Career and Workforce Development Manager for APWA, but I was just wanting to get a feel of what's happening at the local level, just to, see if there's any best practices that are already happening. Thank you.
I think that's one of the big challenges too, is what we try to kind of encapsulate here is that there's a lot of different good things going on, but it's all over. And so how can we try to centralize some of those good things being done so we can spend time on developing staff and developing future leaders and not just trying to fill the ranks and have that general churn.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm trying to work on too. So as I gather those best practices at a local level, I'll be sure to send it out.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions, comments you'd like to share?
And if not, no worries. Again, as John said, even though
pressure.
this project's getting closed out in August, we definitely want you to stay engaged, continue to share the resources so that this website can still be relevant, still point people in the right direction as they try to help us develop future public works staff and future leaders. So again, thank you for taking the time to attend, stay engaged, stay informed. Feel free to send John as many emails as you want to keep him, fresh on this stuff. Share this stuff on LinkedIn to help us just promote it. And, the reality is we're all in this together and our teams and the profession sinks or swims together. So it takes everybody. So thank you very much, everybody. Stay connected. Don't hesitate to reach out and have a good day.
Great, thank you, Mark. Oh, and we're also sending out an evaluation, so feel free to comment on our evaluation form that we're sending out. And again, yes, everyone, thank you so much for your time today.